Hi fellow gardeners, welcome to our channel. Today is a cloudy Christmas day, and in this video we're going to talk about how to care for blueberries in containers in the winter. You can see that we have two blueberry plants in two large containers. We use 20-gallon containers for each plant, and we plant only one blueberry plant per container. Blueberries are very easy to grow. They grow in zones 2 through 10, and we live in zone 8A in North Texas. And most of the winter we keep our blueberries outside in the backyard. Occasionally we do bring them in the garage, and I'll come back to that a little bit later. But if you live in a colder climate and if you have really cold and windy days with extreme cold temperatures, then you might want to consider to bring your blueberry plants in containers in the garage, or you can put it against the house where they will be getting warmth from the house. Right now we have our blueberries in the spot, and I moved them here last summer because summers in Texas are extremely hot and the sun can burn the plants and the leaves and they might die. For that reason, I moved them to the spot that gets shade. You can see that the shade is provided by the privet bushes and also from this maple tree. When it had leaves in the summer, it provided really nice shade for our blueberry plants. But now we're at the end of December and it's a cloudy day, and a lot of days in the winter are cloudy. And for that reason, I'm going to move the blueberry plants to the spot that gets more sun. Since we live in a milder climate, our blueberry plants have started setting flower buds, but if you live in a colder climate, then your plants will wait until spring to start blooming. And to encourage more blooming, I have to move the blueberry plants to a sunny spot. And that's what we're gonna do today. These containers have been in the spot since last summer, and while I was moving the first container, I realized that the roots from this maple tree have gotten inside of the container, and I had to rip the roots to move the container. So if your containers are staying in one spot for a long time, you need to make sure to move them around occasionally just to remove the tree roots from the container, because otherwise the tree will be sucking all the nutrients from the blueberry plant. Now that our blueberry plants are getting close to the flowering stage, it's very important to give them additional nutrients so that they would grow bigger flowers and hence bigger berries. It's not ideal to use all-purpose fertilizer. It's better to use acidifying fertilizer. And I have this fertilizer that we've had for a long time. This fertilizer is for azaleas, camellias, gardenias, and evergreens. But this is also really good for blueberry plants because they like acidic soil. You can see that I have mulch here, so I can simply move mulch away a little bit, or I can keep the mulch there and I can take a little bit of the fertilizer and simply sprinkle it even on top of the mulch. That would be okay. And then after I fertilize all of the plant, I can simply move it around, mix it with the mulch a little bit so it would get mixed and it would go down to the soil of the container. It's important to mulch the containers because otherwise they will be drying up faster, and it's not good for blueberry plants. They don't like to stay in dry soil. You can use any kind of mulch. I think right here I use some pine mulch, and also we have leaves from our maple tree. I can successfully use leaves and just use leaves without any pine mulch. But really, as long as the mulch doesn't have any artificial dyes or perfumes, you can use mulch on your blueberry plants. If you have composted manure, you can also apply it on top of the plant and then cover it with mulch. Since blueberry plants like acidic environment, it's better not to use tap water for them because tap water is more alkaline. For that reason, I collect rainwater just so I can use it for blueberry plants and for some of our trees. They really benefit from all that rainwater. So here I have rainwater, and I'm just going to water it like that, and I try to use it all throughout the season. Now, sometimes when we're out of rainwater, I do use some tap water, but I try not to use too much of it. If you notice that the leaves in your blueberry plants are starting to get yellow, a lot of the times that means that the soil is getting more alkaline. In that case, you can add more of acidifying fertilizer and they should be fine. If you want to harvest actual berries from your blueberry plants, and that's the whole purpose of growing blueberries, then you have to watch your weather real close once your plants start start blooming. As long as blueberry plants are in the flower budding stage, it's okay for them to stay outside, and they're pretty cold tolerant. They could tolerate the temperatures all the way down to 25 degrees Fahrenheit approximately. But as soon as the flowers start forming and they actually open up and you see those beautiful white petals on the flowers, that's when you have to watch the weather. At that stage, the flowers will tolerate temperatures down to 28 degrees Fahrenheit. If it gets colder than that, they might get freeze damage. And if you notice that the white petals start falling, that's when the berries can tolerate temperatures down to 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And if it gets colder than that, then the berries would be freeze damaged. So when I know that our blueberry plants have open flowers and it's going to get really cold, normally we move them into the garage. But now that we have two plants, it might be too difficult to move them into the garage because they're so heavy. For that reason, we might wrap them with an old sheet, or we might get a special frost cover and just wrap that frost cover around the plant and around the containers to protect the roots from freeze. And after the cold spell passes, we take the plants out of the garage or we remove the frost covers. And that's how we care for our blueberry plants in the winter. I hope this video is helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.